There are mornings when you wake with a heaviness you cannot explain, a pressure in the chest, a quiet dread, a sense that something unseen is waiting for you out there, beyond the door, beyond the hours of the day. You do not speak it aloud, but you feel it. I hope today doesn't break me. Fear whispers before the sun rises, but hear me now. There exists a spiritual law older than your fear, stronger than your doubt, and more faithful than your uncertainty. A law so powerful that the moment you truly grasp it, fear loses its voice. That law is contained in the words of Psalm 91. Do not rush past this. Most men read Scripture casually without realizing they are holding the blueprint to their own protection. They glance at the words but never unlock the authority hidden behind them. Psalm 91 is not poetry. It is a covenant. It is a contract. It is a spiritual decree that arms a man with boldness no danger can challenge. Ask yourself something honest. How many days of your life have been guided by fear, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of sickness, fear of betrayal, fear of not having enough, fear of the future, fear of the unknown, fear of the very shadows your imagination creates? Fear has stolen more opportunities from men than any enemy they will ever meet. And yet Psalm 91 offers a different life, a fearless life, a life where you walk as one protected, guided, covered by a power far beyond your own, a life where danger may approach, but it cannot overtake, a life where uncertainty still exists, but panic has no place, a life where you rise in the morning and say with certainty, I am not alone today. Before I reveal how this psalm becomes a shield around you, you must understand this. You do not overcome fear by resisting it. You overcome fear by replacing it with a greater truth. Fear thrives in the absence of faith. Fear grows in the absence of spiritual authority. Fear dominates the man who tries to face life on his own strength. Psalm 91 changes that. It gives you access to a higher strength, a greater certainty, a divine confidence that lifts you above the reach of ordinary fear. It is not merely a passage, it is a fortress. But you must walk into it. Think of the moments when fear has paralyzed you, when you stood at the edge of a decision but stepped back instead of forward, when you wanted to speak but remained silent, when you wanted to rise but felt unworthy, when you allowed fear to steal your voice, your power, your purpose. All those moments trace back to one truth. You believed you were unprotected. But imagine waking tomorrow with a different belief, one born from Psalm 91. Imagine rising with the conviction that you dwell in the secret place of the Most High, and nothing formed against you can enter that refuge. Imagine walking through your day knowing you are carried, shielded, guarded. Imagine fear knocking and you answering it with faith so strong it cannot enter. This is not imagination, this is law. Look at the promises woven through Psalm 91. Shelter, refuge, deliverance from traps, protection from sickness, strength in darkness, angels assigned to guard you, assurance that no evil shall befall you. These are not metaphors. They are conditions of a divine agreement. The man who believes them does not walk as a trembling servant. He walks as a fearless heir. Let me offer you a challenge. Why do you think some men endure storms with calm while others collapse at the first sign of trouble? It is not personality. It is not upbringing. It is not luck. It is the presence or absence of spiritual certainty. The man anchored in Psalm 91 does not panic when trouble rises. He does not retreat when shadows grow. He does not crumble when news is bad or when the world trembles. He may feel fear knocking at the edge of his mind, but he does not accept it. He stands under a different covering, the covering of divine protection. And understand this: fear vanishes when your spirit becomes convinced that you are protected by a higher power. A man cannot fear what cannot destroy him. Psalm 91 teaches you this truth until it becomes the very pattern of your mind. But you must not read it as a casual observer. You must read it as a participant, a claimant, a man stepping into a promise made long before he was born. Hear me well. Psalm 91 contains the boldest declaration a man can make against fear, not by pretending danger does not exist, but by affirming that you are not subject to it. It removes you from the realm of panic and places you in the realm of faith. It does not erase storms, but it makes them powerless to break you. Now imagine the life that unfolds when you begin every morning with that certainty. Imagine beginning your day with the decree, "My refuge, my fortress, my God, in him will I trust." Imagine the strength that enters your voice, the calm that enters your mind, the courage that settles in your spirit. Imagine speaking to your fears with the authority of heaven behind you. The world around you may remain chaotic, but you will not. Your circumstances may remain uncertain, but you will not. Your path may contain obstacles, but you will not bow to them. You will move through life with quiet boldness, unshaken by the noise that terrifies lesser minds. And let me tell you a secret. When you carry the presence of fearlessness, people notice. They feel something different around you. They sense strength, stability, assurance. They look to you for guidance. They trust your leadership. They seek your counsel. Fearless men attract influence because the world is starving for certainty. This is why Psalm 91 must become part of your daily discipline. Not a ritual, not a superstition, but a spiritual weapon, a shield, a declaration, a reminder that you do not walk alone, that your life is covered, that you dwell under protection the world cannot understand and fear cannot overcome. So steady your heart now. Guard your attention. What you are about to hear is not mere scripture. It is a blueprint for fearless living. If you will receive it, repeat it, believe it, and claim it, fear will lose its authority over your life. And each morning you will rise with the strength of one who walks beneath divine wings. Psalm 91 is the key. Unlock it, and fear will never rule you again. Every man lives within two worlds at once. The first is the visible world of circumstance, the one that changes with the weather, the one that trembles under the weight of fear. The second is the inner world of thought, the unseen kingdom that no man may enter but yourself. This inner kingdom is where victory or defeat begins. When Scripture declares, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty," it speaks of that inner dwelling. The secret place is not found in geography. It is found in awareness. It is a state of mind in which fear cannot breathe. It is the fortress of faith that exists within every man, waiting to be occupied by his belief. Most men live outside this fortress. They rise each morning exposed to fear, hoping the day will be kind, but expecting that it may not. They look at the world and see danger. They look at themselves and feel small. Their thoughts wander like beggars through dark alleys of doubt, and then they wonder why life strikes them without mercy. But the man who understands this psalm does not beg for peace. He dwells in it. He lives inside his conviction that he is guarded by an unseen power. He thinks within it, walks within it, speaks from within it. His mind becomes a fortress, and his heart becomes a throne from which calmness reigns. Protection begins in the mind. Fear cannot enter a consciousness that has accepted divine safety as its law. You are not protected because you pray once. You are protected because you believe continually. The moment your faith becomes constant, the universe organizes itself around that certainty. The subconscious mind is the bridge between your belief and your experience. It accepts whatever thought you feed it as command. If you feed it pictures of danger, it will interpret life as peril. But if you feed it assurance, safety, and divine trust, it will move the unseen forces of life to fulfill that assurance. The psalm is not promise only. It is instruction in how to train the mind. Faith is not an act, it is a residence. To believe is to move mentally into a higher dwelling. Fear may still cry at the gate, but it cannot enter a house where faith keeps watch. When you decide that you live under the protection of the Almighty, you have already withdrawn permission from fear. A man once told me that he had survived a shipwreck while the storm destroyed everything around him. He said, "I repeated Psalm 91 until I could feel peace stronger than the storm." That peace became his shield. Waves could not touch a mind that had already taken refuge in certainty. Fear and faith cannot share the same throne. When one sits, the other departs. You cannot serve both at once. You must choose daily which will rule you, the law of fear that weakens or the law of faith that fortifies. Fear whispers that you are alone. Faith reminds you that you are carried. Fear paints pictures of loss. Faith writes decrees of protection. Fear convinces man that he is separated from divine power. Faith restores his remembrance that he was never apart. The cure for fear is not resistance, it is remembrance. You do not defeat darkness by wrestling it. You defeat it by turning on the light. The man who remembers his connection to divine law steps instantly out of the reach of panic. Think of sunlight. When you stand in its path, darkness has no existence where light abides. So it is with the mind that dwells in divine thought. Fear is the shadow that disappears when you step into faith. Every thought of protection you hold is a key that unlocks the door to the secret place. Every repetition of truth builds a higher wall around your peace. The psalm is not recited for ritual. It is spoken to impress belief upon the mind until that belief becomes natural. Say within yourself now, "I abide under the shadow of the Almighty. No fear can find me. No evil can reach me. I dwell in peace, and peace surrounds me." Let that be not a sentence, but a state. Each repetition deepens its foundation until faith becomes the atmosphere in which you breathe. Fear is suggestion. It operates only through imagination. It cannot touch the man who has trained imagination to picture protection instead. The fearful imagine disaster until they feel its shadow. The faithful imagine safety until they radiate it. Both are creating. Only one creates strength. The world will test your confidence. Storms will come, opinions will threaten, news will shake the timid, but the man anchored in divine law remains calm. He does not deny the storm, he denies its power to rule his mind. And that denial, spoken with conviction, becomes decree. Life obeys it. The greatest battles are not fought in fields, but in thoughts. Every fear conquered internally prevents 100 defeats externally. The moment you withdraw your attention from fear, you disarm it. The moment you turn your thought to faith, you invoke invisible aid. Faith is a mental command that opens every hidden gate of strength within you. It is not blind, it sees farther than eyes can reach. It is not fragile, it endures after reason fails. Faith is the silent law that connects you with the power that never trembles. When fear visits, greet it with remembrance. Say to it, "You have mistaken your address. I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. You have no authority here. Speak it until your own heart hears and obeys." The subconscious does not reason, it responds. Feed it confidence, and it will turn that confidence into circumstances that justify it. Feed it fear, and it will create evidence to confirm your dread. Choose your impressions wisely, for they become the architecture of your life. The man who knows his protection blesses others without effort. His calm becomes their comfort. His composure steadies their shaking. His words carry authority because they are spoken from peace. Even his silence teaches courage. I have stood beside men who radiated such faith that danger seemed a shame to approach them. Their presence was command. They did not speak of power, they embodied it. The world bends gently around such souls because nature itself respects certainty. Spiritual protection is not isolation from life, it is mastery of it. It does not remove you from challenge, it removes fear's control over you. You will still walk among storms, but you will not belong to them. You will stand within noise, but silence will reign in you. The law of divine shelter is the law of alignment. When your thoughts agree with divine truth, life agrees with you. The moment you decide that you live in protection, you have already created the condition. Courage is the offspring of certainty. The man who knows he is guarded dares where others retreat. He steps forward while others hesitate. The secret of his confidence is not arrogance. It is faith expressed through calm conviction. Understand that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that faith is greater. Each time you act in that decision, you strengthen the spiritual muscle that builds protection around you. The fearless man becomes magnetic. Courage draws strength. Faith draws opportunity. Peace draws guidance. When fear leaves your atmosphere, everything of power begins to approach. I have known businessmen, leaders, and laborers alike who proved this law. One man began each morning by reading Psalm 91 aloud before leaving his home. Within months, he said his days unfolded with uncanny order. Delays dissolved, helpers appeared, difficulties softened. He did not change the world, he changed his dwelling. Fear makes man vibrate in discord with divine order. Faith restores harmony. When your mind is at one with divine law, you attract its protection as naturally as a magnet draws metal. It is not the psalm alone that protects. It is your belief in the principle behind it. The words are the seed. Faith is the soil. You must cultivate both daily. Repetition engraves belief. Belief creates atmosphere. Atmosphere becomes protection. Once faith becomes habitual, fear finds no doorway through which to enter. And remember this, the peace you carry becomes the peace you spread. When a man dwells in calm confidence, he changes the temperature of every room he enters. His family feels safer. His work flows smoother. Even strangers are lifted by his composure. You must become that man. The one who carries the presence of quiet strength, who speaks few words but all of them steady, who walks through difficulty as though led by unseen hand. Each morning, before the noise of the world can reach you, close your eyes and enter the secret place. Picture yourself enveloped in light, shielded by invisible calm. Speak your decree. I dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. No fear can enter. No harm can prevail. No doubt can disturb. Stay there until peace becomes your pulse. Then go forth, not as one hoping for safety, but as one embodying it. The law of divine shelter is simple but supreme. As you dwell in thought, so shall you dwell in life. Therefore, let your first dwelling be faith. Build its walls with conviction. Roof it with gratitude. Guard it with repetition. Fear may knock, but faith will answer, and peace will abide forever. He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. These words contain the secret of invincibility. To say them without belief is to whisper to the wind. To say them with conviction is to call forth an army of invisible power. Trust is not a feeling. It is an act of mental discipline. Faith is not hope. It is training. The man who makes trust his daily exercise becomes untouchable to fear. Faith is the armor of the Spirit. It does not arrive by chance. It is forged through repetition, decision, and obedience to divine order. Just as the blacksmith hammers steel until it becomes unbreakable, so must you hammer your thoughts until they shine with certainty. The weak pray for strength. The wise build it through daily thought. Every idea you entertain either defends you or exposes you. A single thought of fear opens a gate. A single thought of faith closes it. The mind is the battlefield where victory or defeat is decided long before events unfold. When fear gains entry, defeat follows. When faith commands the gate, all adversity loses its weapon. The psalm says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day." The terror by night represents the unseen, the fears that